Now that we got the roof all modeled, let's talk about another unique modeling problem that you'll run into, and that would be railings. Let's look at a few different ways to make some railings. There's some really easy ways. If we wanted to put a glass railing on here, which is what I envisioned, we'll just trace right along the outside of that. Dang it. Right along the outside of this deck here. Move that up in the front view, the y-axis. Put it at the bottom because it's going to be attached to the face. And what I will do, let's see, well, an easy way to do it, let's check to see what this is extruded at. That is -10 inches. These railings on the second floor deck like this would be 42 inches above the floor. So that'd be 42 plus the 10 if it's going to be face mounted there. So that would put it at 52 inches. This brings up another point. One thing we haven't talked about is normals. In 3D, everything has a normal. All the polygons have normals on them, and they face either towards you or away from you. You can see that this one with the color on it, that's facing towards me. These black ones are backwards. They're facing away from me. And that can cause certain problems. See, it's facing this direction. That can cause certain problems, and generally you want them facing in the right direction. So what you can do here is just put a normal modifier on it and tell it to flip normals like that. So now you can see the back of that face is over here now, and the railing is facing out towards me. So with this being an extruded line, what you could do is take this segment and divide it into here. If you go into the divide tool under the segment subobject level, you can divide that into, say, 8 pieces and then extrude it. You'll have that, and that's kind of useful. Not necessarily the way I do it. Well, this is one way to do it. You can convert that to edit poly like this, and then just take all these, and if you hit ring, that will select all of them, a ring of edges, and then you can chamfer them. And if you take this so chamfer from that much. If you check this here, that means it's going to open the chamfer, which means that it actually deletes the face that's created in between here. And that's how these glass face mounted railings would be. They would just be pieces of glass that butt right up to each other like that. And then to give this thickness, you could just do a shell modifier. Like that. Make it about a ½ inch thick. And shell, all that does is give thickness to your polygon. So you can, the outer amount and the inner amount just gives it thickness. Let's go back. So actually, you saw how quick and easy that was to make that glass railing. So that's face mounted glass railing right onto there. Let's hide that real quick and show you another way. Railing used to be so hard for me until I figured out a few of these tricks, and then it became, as you saw, really easy. So let's do this. So let's make it more of a railing type thing instead of pieces of glass. We can, and we'll say this is mounted on the floor here instead of on the face. So if we select this, nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's get that line, the right line. It's that one. Let's go into spline subobject mode, and we'll offset it a little bit using the outline tool. We'll put a couple inches in there, and then if you erase this segment here and this other segment that's created here, then you have this spline out here all on its own, and you can select that and delete it because we don't need that. Okay, from here we can just extrude that line 42 inches up. You could do all this with splines. I'm going again to use edit polys. Put the normal modifier on again. Now, last time I showed you to divide up the spline and then extrude it, and it gave you the verticals. Here we can just convert it to edit poly, and this is another way to do it, to just select these two edges in edge subobject mode and hit connect, and this will show you exactly how many rails you're going to get. Now I'm going to make these into posts. So what we can do here is, okay, I'm going to show you a cool little trick. So remember I showed you that ring. So if we select this vertical and then do a ring selection, and if we connect, grab this edge and do a loop, that'll, or we could have just done Control A and selected all the edges. Now if you go to right click, create shape, that'll create a shape from whatever you have selected. You want linear, and that just created a spline. If I hit Shift O and hide all my objects and leave just my shapes left, you can see that spline that it created there. That's not a solid object. That's just a shape. Now if you take that edit spline and make it enable in renderer and enable in viewport, you can see it shows up with a thickness there. Now I can make it, you can either make it radial, it's 1 inch radius right now, or you can make it rectangular. I'm going to make it 2 inches by 2 inches. It looks like it got a little twisted on there, so this isn't exactly right, but you can get the idea here. So now this could be like a top mounted railing, and these middle panels could be glass, and they'd be surrounded by these posts and a top railing, a handrail on the top. Or you could just delete this, take this spline. This will be kind of cool to take this spline and copy it down. Let's make sure it's selected. Yeah. Move it in the Z axis. Oh, we got more than we wanted, didn't we? Just that spline. Okay, let's select this edge, or these segments like this. Something a little funky going on here, but this will work. Take these segments and let's copy them down. About 4 inches is what we want. And then let's detach that so that it's its own, and we can set it up like we want. So let's select that spline, and instead of making this a 2-inch rectangle, let's make this radial and make it like 0.75 inches, like this. And you can just take that same and you could measure this out so it's exactly 4 inches. That would be code. So now you have kind of a cable railing system going on there. So you can see, oh, we needed to grab that guy too, but you get the idea. I think I'm going to actually go with the glass railing, but you can go with whatever you want. So you can see from the simple line we kind of have a lot of options of things we can create from that. And whatever kind of railing you want to do, you can do it, just like I showed you there. So there's you can use polygons, you can use splines, but whatever. The main thing is that you get the path you want the railing to go along. You could even do a sweep and do some custom railings along there. Lots of different ways to do it. This is a few. Hopefully that helps.